Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Beyond the Home Study podcast. We are here to have real conversations for foster and adoptive parents. And today we are having a conversation, just Laura Rose and me, about a book. So, Laura, tell us about the book.
Yeah, so we are doing something different this week, guys. We're doing like a little book club. So hopefully you've seen on our social media and things, and we've shared it in past podcast episodes where we are talking about The Whole Brain Child. So I have it with me here if you're watching this on video. And it's by Daniel Siegel and Tina Payne Bryson, which Dan Siegel is like a pioneer in the neuroscience world, and a lot of, like trauma work and things like that. So he's someone that I know in some other realms. Yeah, so that and actually I'm pretty sure when we interviewed, Marty Smith, she worked with him, right? Wasn't it him that she had worked
Ooh,
with? Or Bruce
maybe.
Perry? Maybe it was Bruce Perry, I can't remember.
I don't know. That name doesn't sound as
Oh,
familiar to me, so I'm not
okay.
sure. I don't know.
Anyway, so yeah, so we're gonna talk about this today. We both read it. Abby actually read it a long time ago and then like did it again. And hopefully you guys, if you haven't read the book, then maybe this will prompt you to read it or not. We haven't shared our opinions. But if
That's
you
right.
have, hopefully we're just gonna pretend that you're here with us in our book club.
Yeah, that'll be fun. So, so Laura and I are both in book clubs, and I mean, normally we're not reading The Whole Brain Child in our book clubs. But I thought it would be kind of fun just to start out like usually in my book club, we start out by just saying like, what were your overall thoughts and opinions? And usually that kind of gets us going. And the big question I like to ask is like, did you enjoy the book or not?
Okay.
So go
Yeah,
ahead.
we do the same thing. Like what were your
Yeah.
thoughts? Like what were your
Yeah.
just general thoughts? Yeah. General thoughts for me were was that this was a helpful book. I think it was when Abby and I were discussing like what book to do this month, because we were trying to do something more like behavior based since we've been talking a lot about behavior this month. We wanted something that was parent friendly, and I think we accomplished that. I feel like it's a parent friendly book. Yeah. So I will say I thought that that was cool that they brought like neuroscience to like a more familiar parent level. Um, there were some things I didn't like about it. We can
Great.
talk about that, but
Yeah.
yeah, but overall I felt like, "Oh yeah, that's a helpful book. I would recommend it."
Yeah, same. Same. I think that so the first time that I read it, I like, just listened to it like on audiobook, and there's so many helpful like little pictures, and then I was even just right before we were talking, I was looking at the back of this book. There's a
Mhm.
chart that goes through like I almost want to like find this if I can find like a PDF copy of it or something just to keep, but it's like okay, when you see what is it called? Hold on.
Well, there's a
The
couple
whole
different there's the
brain
whole brain ages and stages.
ages and stages, I was like, "Oh, okay," like, I didn't even get to this, but I think this could be really helpful. It goes through, like, obviously different ages of your kids, and then through, like, some of the, I guess, core principles maybe of the book, and then what that looks like and how to apply it in that age or stage, which
Mhm.
there's another podcast, I don't know if I've ever talked about it on this one before, but there's another podcast I've listened to before called Raising Boys and Girls,
You
and they
have, but it was in the beginning, like the first season, I feel like you talked
okay.
about that.
Yeah, so I actually just I went back to find an episode that was, like, on my mind because I haven't listened to it in a while, but they go through it's a couple of counselors based out of Nashville, I think, and they do a lot of, like, therapy and counseling for children, and so they now have this podcast and, like, use that to, help further all their different methods and what they learn and all that. So they have an ages and stages series from like 2 or 3 years ago maybe, and I just went back to download a couple of the episodes of, like, where my kids are at because I'm like, "I need a little refresh on what we're
What's
doing
going
here."
on in the
Yeah, and
brain?
so I was like, "Okay, here's another tool of just" yeah, tools to put in your tool belt of things to just strategies, like I just feel like we can keep talking through it as we talk about the book, but I'm in a place in parenting that I'm like, "Okay, I need some different strategies because some of the things I'm doing are not working anymore. So anyways, this having the physical book has been good, and I think I enjoyed the physical book more because it has like these helpful little pictures, charts, all the things. So,
Yeah, I so for those of you listening that have not read this book, let me give you just like a general overview so you know like what is this book about. The like and this is just my own description. The general gist of the book is teaching parents about the left and the right side of a child's brain and how you can integrate those sides. So, very simplistically said, the logic side and the emotion side, and they're talking like upstairs brain, downstairs brain, right brain, left brain, like it's all over the place. It's I mean, it's all neurologically sound, but basically, it's like strategies, like telling you like what does that mean? What are the parts of the brain? What does this mean for your child? And then what are strategies to help integrate the whole brain so that we're operating at the most functional, optimal level, I should say, that we can with the child. So that's kind of like the gist of the book.
yeah, I think that's good. I've never heard upstairs and downstairs brain before reading this.
So that's a very OT thing. We talk about that all the time. So that
Yeah,
like, but the way that they talk about it's really helpful. Like,
yeah,
yeah, like some of the illustrations and such with
yeah.
it.
They
Yeah.
talk about the upstairs brain being under construction still, and I thought that
Yeah.
was like a good way of thinking about it. And then the I don't know if it's the down. No, that's not the downstairs brain.
The downstairs brain is like your survival mode, your
Yeah.
instincts. Yeah. So I will say, this
Oh
book
yeah.
is not targeted necessarily towards kids that have experienced trauma, just so you guys know. I know
That's
we're
good.
like an adoption podcast, but it's for any child, but it can definitely like still be applied to children that have experienced trauma. The biggest kicker I would say that you need to like pay attention here is that your child's brain is younger than their physical age because of the trauma.
So when a child experiences a trauma, you would like even if you're looking at some of these like ages and stages, you may not be looking at like the 3 to 6 age if they're 4. You may need to look like a little bit before that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, like, so
interesting.
if your child's 12, you may
Mhm.
need to be looking more at, like, the six-year-old, and I think it makes more sense too when you're reading the book because you're thinking about, like, "Oh, it's not integrated well." Like, that's what's
Yeah.
happened is that frontal lobe still being or, under construction or upstairs brain still being under construction, like, no, it's still really, really under construction.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, it was interesting, it said so in this little, like I'm looking at the refrigerator sheet, like, at the back
Oh,
because
yeah.
it has, like, all the different terms, and so it says, that the upstairs brain is under construction and can be hijacked, quote, unquote, "hijacked" by the downstairs brain, especially in high emotion situations, and I saw that and I was thinking, like, "Okay, they're not using the word trauma, but I think that's what they're talking about," or, like, that's how we could see it.
Well, they're just talking about, like, anything that would be high emotion for a two-year-old could be you gave them the wrong color plate.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? But I think that's an important distinction because, but a high emotion, you wouldn't expect that same high emotion from a 10-year-old,
Mhm.
but you might still have it, you know? And a lot of that has to do with, things being unsafe or deemed unsafe when you're younger, and then your body stays there, and says this is unsafe, even though a typical, air quotes, typical child would like learn, oh, that's not an unsafe situation. I don't need to have such a big reaction. A child that's experienced trauma is still stuck in that downstairs brain. And so then that same thing happens when they're 10 and they're like, danger, danger.
Mhm. Yeah, that's it's interesting to look at, like, the ages like that and the age of
Hmm.
your kids. Um, go ahead.
Well, so what did you think? Okay, so you mentioned like, oh, I like that there's charts and like there's illustrations too. What did you think about those? If you're on YouTube, I'll show you. Like, it's like a
Yeah. I mean, I thought they were good. They look like little comics,
yeah.
Like, I think they're kinda cute. Um, so they still have lots of words in them, so I think if I like, in the audiobook, I'm sure I still got, like, the gist when I was listening to it, but being able to, like, actually look at it, I kinda liked it because it shows, like, what the real life situation looks like, there's one I'm not gonna be able to find it right now because I'm looking for it, but there's one that was, like a mom and her son sitting at the, I don't know, dinner table or something, and it's like, "So how was your day?" Like, asking these, like, really open-ended questions, and the kids are like, "Fine, good,
Yeah.
whatever." I think it was the point about, like, we have to remember or something, but it's like, instead of saying, like, this open-ended question, they say something, I don't know exactly how they phrase it, but it's like, "Well, tell me about something that made you happy today. Tell me about
Yeah.
something that made you sad today." And that's something we do in our house, and so I don't know, I just thought, like, the little picture was cute of like, it
Trying to
just
find
shows,
it.
like, they're just sitting there at the table. Let's see.
Yeah, I
Oh,
do
on
remember.
85. I did find it.
Okay.
But I guess you could see that they're kind of silly. They're just like little doodles.
Yeah, so I didn't like the pictures.
Okay.
I think that I could understand, like, why they would be helpful because,
Yeah.
like, it is always helpful to have an example. I just didn't like them in that way, and I get why they did it, like, it makes sense, like, it separates it, it's easy to find that example, like, visually, it's great. I have no real reason other than I just kind of found them annoying.
Yeah.
It's like
No, I can see I can see, like, if I was reading through this for the first time and or if it was any other book that I'm just, like, trying to get through, like, just trying to move
Yeah.
from, like, point A to B or, like, what are these pictures doing? I think maybe because I already was, like, somewhat familiar with it, I was like, "Oh," it was like a little surprise.
Maybe I felt like that because, like, a large part of this book was not new information.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so I felt like it was just, like, so redundant. I'm like, "Okay,
Yes.
I got it, I heard you."
Yeah, because it really is I mean, there's some sections where it's like every other page is a picture.
I know, yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing I didn't like about this book there's a couple things, but the so that was one.
Okay.
One of the things another thing I didn't like is okay, so they're trying to give you these, like, illustrations, and they are helpful, but there's too many.
Mm.
So they're like, the cog wheel or whatever, and then they're like the windshield wiper method and, oh,
Yes.
the and I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I, like, cannot remember this many, like, visual picture things and when to use them, like, that's too many for me. I
Yeah,
want 1.
yeah. No, I can see that 'cause the one I was looking at was the hub, I think?
The hub was the wheel one.
Okay, the wheel.
The
Yeah.
wheel there was that, but then there was one before that, that was great, I loved it. It was, of course, we, like I even, like, marked stuff up.
I know. This happens to me, like, in my actual book club too, where I, like, have all these thoughts before and I know exactly where to find them, and I get there and I'm like, "Duh, duh, duh, I can't find anything."
Like
Wait, it was
oh,
before that.
okay, they talked about, like, okay, tell a story. So, they're giving a lot of different strategies, like, in the this is the
Yeah.
very one of the very first chapters, they're talking about, like like, I can't remember what the scenario was, but it made me think of my own, so I'll tell you that one. Like, my child was in a car accident,
Yes.
and they're saying instead of, like, saying "Oh, you're fine," like, and not wa and avoiding talking about it, that you should really, like, let them express it and talk them through it, and then they were saying, like, "Oh, start the story," and then so then, like, later, they were telling it remember with, like, the son and the knife, and they're
Yes.
like, "Start the story, and then use the TV remote and hit pause, and then we'll skip to the end. Now let's go
Mhm.
back and fill it in," and, like, the TV remote helpful, great, like, little,
Mm,
like, I'm like, "That's really helpful, cool." But then it's like, "Oh, and the wheel, and there's something about windshield wipers," and I was like, I just
yeah. Well, I don't remember any of those. It shows how much how much
Did
I
you
was
read the book?
like, I mean, I remember the idea of it, but, like, I couldn't tell you what
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do with it. Yeah, so the story about the accident, that was at the very beginning. I had pulled this up because I wanted to this was, like, one of the things that I remember from the first time reading it. So, there was a young girl who was in a serious car accident with her nanny who was driving, and her nanny had a seizure and lost control, and the car crashed.
That's what there was. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, that really stuck with me, because, like, I mean, I had definitely done that before, like, something happens and it's like, "Oh, it's fine, like, let's not dwell on it, let's not like, we don't wanna, like,
Mhm,
invoke fear, so, like, let's not revisit all of those hard things," like, I had done that before, and so when Josh and I we were on a trip, it was, like, our first time that we left Judah with my mom, and we left for, like, 4 or 5 days, and she was staying at our house, and we had seen on like, we were away, we were in I think we were in Utah. Yeah, we were in Utah, and we were hiking, and my mom was at home in Kentucky with Judah, and we had seen on, like, some of the weather and different things because we were kinda keeping up with stuff, and we had heard from some of our friends that there were some really bad storms. And so I had checked in with my mom, like, "Hey, just wanna see, like, everybody okay? Everybody good?" And I had told her at one point, like, "If there's ever a tornado warning, or, like, the weather gets really bad, like, this is what we didn't have a basement, we had, like, just this kind of interior wall that they could go
mhm.
to, by a bathroom." And we had done it before, like, just a couple months before this had happened, we'd had a really bad storm. So anyways, so Judah and my mom, like, the all the sirens start going off. I think they were just, like, coming in from the store. Sirens are going off. A tree, like this 60-foot tree in our backyard, cracked and fell in the wind, went through the fence, and, like, they saw it. Like, they saw everything happen and, or they saw it, I think, once it had come down, but they had heard everything. And so, anyways, every time like, on every first Tuesday at noon or whatever, the sirens go off as a test,
Right.
like they're testing the alarms. And every time Judah would sob, like just, and like in the moment when he was with my mom, he was fine. Like she even said, she's
Mhm.
like, I didn't think he was impacted or affected at all. Like everything seemed fine. Well, every time those test alarms went off, he would just get so and it would last, like, over an hour. He would be, like, crying, upset, like, the only way to really calm him down was him going down for a nap because that was, like, usually around his nap time. So, anyways, it was, like, months and months of this happening, like, because it would happen once a month.
Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, "What is going on? Like, what am I gonna do?" Like, I've told him it's a test, I've told all these different things, and I started putting it all together, like, by month 2 or 3, and was just reading this, and so I was like, "All right, let's try it. Let's, like, tell the whole story. Like, mommy and daddy went on a trip, you were with Grammy, you went to the store," like, we literally, like, boom, 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 like, every single step, and the tree fell while the alarms were going off, and Grammy kept you safe, and then mommy and daddy came home, we cut the tree up, we burned the wood, like, we did the whole thing, and I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months of that, as the alarms are going off, I'm telling him the story, and now an alarm can go off and he has no issue with it at all. But I was like, "Whoa, this is so crazy." Like, this is exactly what was happening. Obviously not a car accident, but, like, the same kinds of steps, like, over and over. So, that was, like, one that was really impactful to me, and we've used it in, like, other things that, accidents and, like, other things that have happened since then. I'm like, "That's a pretty cool tool to have in my tool belt."
Yeah, it is. It is a really cool, storytelling in general, and they do talk about this in the book, like, you can use it for so many things,
Yeah.
like, future things,
Yeah.
or past thing like, there's just stories are really powerful, play, puppets. Puppets are, like,
Yeah.
really underrated, like, "Guys, you could use some
Yeah.
puppets." But, yeah, no, I like that they shared that, and, yeah, it makes sense, and it does work, and it is really helpful for
Mhm.
your child. I think I like that they gave all of these, like, cool tools. I just felt like there's so many.
Yeah.
Even with the, like, thing in the end, like, that I'm pulling up the refrigerator sheet thing. Like, so they're like, "What can you do?" It says, like, "Integrating upstairs brain and downstairs brain, what can you do?" And it like, here I'm just reading, like, the, italicized parts. It's like, "Engage, don't enrage. Use it or lose it. Move it or lose it. Make it like there I'm just like, use the remote of the mind. Remember to remember. Let the clouds of emotion roll by. Sift, exercise mindset.
Yeah, that's too many
M
things to remember.
Yeah, like, these are all the different things under there's different like, headings for those, and I'm just like, "Yeah, you'd have to have a refrigerator sheet because nobody's remembering that."
I know, it is, it's a lot. Even, like, honestly, when I was thinking back well, when we first started talking about this book, I had thought of that story, like, I knew the story of the nanny, like, that all came
Mhm.
back to me, and so I'm, like, looking for it in the book, as I start reading, I'm like, "Oh, it's literally in the first 3 pages." So I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, maybe I just, like that part stuck with me, and then everything else was like, "Mer, mer, mer."
Right? And I'm done. Yeah. But, I mean, they are helpful, like, all the individual ones are really helpful, but it just
Yeah,
yeah, it just felt like a lot.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Um Okay, so I think you said earlier you would recommend it still, even though you felt like it was a little much at times.
Yeah, I would just give some disclaimers. I would just be like, "Hey" yeah. I do have another disclaimer that I would give too.
Okay,
This one's a little more controversial.
that's
But
okay.
so when I first started reading the book, I actually started getting a little, like, irritated, and then they never brought it up again, and I was like, "Oh, that's okay." But I actually, like, kinda put the book down. I was like, "Oh," like, grumbling about it. Okay, so in the very beginning of the book, I think I have it marked. Yeah, it's, like, all highlighted. Um,
With big X's next to it.
there is an X somewhere, yeah. Was just kind of like my, like, way to be like, "This is what I don't like."
Yeah.
Um, oh, shoot, well, where is it? I know it was highlighted. Okay, so basically they're talking about, um hold on, I'm gonna see if I can find it really fast. Okay, there it is. Okay, so they're talking about upstairs brain and downstairs brain. And then I'll go straight to like the example. There was an example that they gave where a kid was making faces they're at a restaurant, and a kid was like making faces at the family and was like sitting separate.
Mm,
And what they said was, you have two options here. And I'm going to try to find it so I can actually tell you exactly what it says. It says option 1, I can go I'm quoting this now. I could go the traditional command and demand route and open with a cliched threat uttered in a stern tone. Stop making faces, young man. Go sit down and eat your lunch or you won't get any dessert. Okay, that's one of the options. And they said, or option 2, I could tap into his upstairs brain in an effort to get more of a thinking as opposed to a fighting, reacting response. And that goes on to be like where you go and you say, like, what's wrong? And he says, Daddy said I had to eat half of my food. I don't want to. And they say, how many bites do you think you should eat? And he says 10. And they say, we could compromise. And then the kid eats 10 bites, which ends up being more than half of his food anyway. And everybody's happy, and not only is everybody happy, like, the child has learned in that moment, right? Like, he literally has learned, "Oh, I can request things from my parents. I'm a
yeah.
respected member of this family. We can have a dialogue. Like, my parents care about me." These are all the things this child has learned in that one brief interaction. Here's what I don't like. They said multiple times that option 1 this is what it said, quote, option 1 would have been perfectly fine, even appropriate, but it also would have missed an opportunity. And
Yeah, I don't
it
like that
really
either.
yeah, like, it really rubbed me wrong because I was like, "No, option 1 is not an option." I mean, it's an option, but it's a bad option.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like, "Oh, that's also appropriate." I would say,
Yeah.
"No, why would you choose that one?" Like, the only time I would ever recommend a parent what was the thing they said? Demand and something?
Demand and command or something like
Demand
that.
and command is in a safety
Yes.
aspect. If they're about to run in the middle of a street, you command and demand. But, like, why would you ever choose that route when you can choose the route now, I'm not saying I don't make mistakes, guys. I command and demand all the time as a as a, "Oh, man, I shouldn't have done that" moment,
Yeah.
but not as a, like, an actual, like, "Oh, that was a good
It's
choice"
not a
option.
perfect option. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I didn't like that, and it really made me mad.
Yeah. I don't really remember that. I must have breezed over that, but I agree with your assessment. And like, yeah, definitely feel like it's and it that part okay, so it is tricky because I have thought about this before where like those like quick command moments of like when you are in a place of safety, like it has to be few and far between for it to work, right?
Right,
Like if you're like if you're demanding everything, 3 seconds to get your shoes on, 1, 2, 3. Like if you're doing things like this all the time, like, for every single thing. Wash your hands after you go to the bathroom. Make sure the door's, like, bam, 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 all and again, I'm telling you these things that I have said before.
sure, yeah, right.
But, like, if you're doing that all the time, and the when I say, "Stop, don't go run out in the street," or "Stop, don't continue chasing that ball," I mean, you're just it's like in one ear, out the other because that's how it is every other
Right.
time. So yeah, and I mean, I would hope that in, like, those safety moments, my children would know, like, this is like, mom means
Mom's being
business.
serious. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
right.
We talk about that in my family. Like, we'll say things like, are you like, hey, this is a say, like, I will preface, I said this today. They were
Mhm.
like being wild and crazy. And I raised my voice. I won't do it on here and said, like, hey, safety, safety, listen, I have something to tell you. And they stopped and listened. And I
That's
was
good.
like, that pan is very hot. Please make sure that you don't touch it. Okay, continue.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I do the whole, like I shouldn't even say this on here, but I, like, say the first usually, like, the first, middle, and sometimes last name. That's, like, how I get the attention sometimes. I'm like, "This is definitely, like, what my parents and their friends did." Like, I know the middle names of some of my friends because I heard their parents
their parents say the
yell
whole
at them like
thing.
that. Uh,
Uh-huh.
but no, that's
Same.
sometimes that's how I like, I don't yeah, I don't know if I've ever said "safety, safety," but it's like that kinda thing, like, you're gonna put your hand in the pot of boiling water, I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna use your full name and get your
I've
attention.
heard about people using, like, a code word, but,
Mhm.
I'm like, you could just say like, my kids just know if I say the word safe, like,
Yeah.
I mean it.
Yeah,
Like,
that's good.
I'm trying to keep you safe. This is not about me trying to control you. This is like, I don't want you to get hurt.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's
Anyway.
good.
But those were all my complaints. The rest of
Oh,
it was great.
good. No, that's good. Um, let's see. I was thinking of like other questions that we talk about when we're in book club. Um, there's like some funny ones that don't really apply to this. Like, if this book was a movie, who would you cast as the characters? We talk about
That's
that
funny.
sometimes. I know, but that one doesn't really relate here. Let's see
We
if I
don't
have
have
any
like
others.
questions like that for our book club.
I like mix it up all the time.
We're just so
Or
chatty. I feel like it just
yeah.
goes.
Yeah, usually, like, I'll kind of kick us off with, like, maybe a question or 2 about specific characters, or, like, I've asked about, like, the title of the book, like, "What do you think the title
Mm,
meant? Did you, like, see that carried out throughout the book?" But then, like, everybody else is so curious to know each other's thoughts, so then someone else will ask a question, and then the other person asks a question, it just kinda goes from there. Um, but I usually like to ask, like, some sort of I don't know, I'm trying to think of what it could be for this book. Like, there was a book about, like, someone changing their identity, basically.
mhm.
Like, they were a spy and, like, took on a whole new name and new occupation and everything. So I asked everyone in my book club, like, if you could change your name and be anything you wanna be, like, who would you be? And so we all kind of
Okay.
talked about it and, just it was more of, like, what job would you wanna do? And then, like, where
Yeah,
would you
yeah.
wanna live? But I don't know, it's kinda fun to, like, ask like, pie in the sky questions like that. But I don't really know what they are for this
For this book.
other than, if your kids were perfect angels, would any of this apply? I don't know. It doesn't really work.
D yeah, yeah. I will say sometimes when I read stuff like this, I find I'm almost get frustrated because 'cause I'm like, "Well, cool, I learned this new trick or this new whatever, but my husband didn't read it."
Yes, I know. No, there's been times where I've, like, found, like, little summaries and been like, "Okay, can you listen to this so that we're on the same page?" Or,
Oh, that's smart.
like that Raising Boys and Girls podcast, that's one where I'm like, I've listened to it and then sent it to Josh and been like, "Okay, I need you to listen to this, like, listen for the few key points because we need to try this," or,
Yeah,
"We've tried something like this, but we need to try this instead," or whatever. So, yeah, I feel that though.
that's funny. I, like, will try to tell Greg something, I'm like, "Okay, so I read this thing," and then I'll be get, like, every detail wrong, and then it just becomes an argument, and I'm like, "Never mind, I'd give up."
You're like, "If you just could read the book, that would be great."
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's how it is always with, like, all the things, like, just stopped. I'm like, "Here's the article, read it yourself."
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Would he read something like this?
No.
Yeah.
Not well, sorry, I should rephrase that. He would listen to this book. He would not read it, and only if I pestered him about it a lot and if we were in a place of need. Like, if we were in a place where, like, we were like, "Our kids are crazy, we don't know what to do," and I'm like, "I read this book and it was so helpful," then
Yeah.
he would. But for me to just be like, "Oh, this was an interesting read with some helpful tips," he'd be like, "Yeah, no, I'm good, thanks.
Mhm.
Give me the Cliff Notes."
Yeah, it's like you need something more specific, like, if you're in the stage of, like, potty training or, whatever, like, read this potty training book or article or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Josh maybe would listen to it, but even then, it's like he's just gonna take what he wants from it or, like, what
Mm,
applies to our kids right now, which, like, I think that's why that story at the beginning stuck out to me so much the first time I read it because
mm,
it was, like, something that actually had happened in my life. So, I don't know, even, there's I think what is it, 12 strategies total?
mhm.
It's like, maybe that's, like, a good takeaway of you're not gonna use all of them every day. So, like, take the ones that stick
That
out to
worked the
you.
best, and then
Yeah,
maybe read the book when your kids are a little older. There
yeah.
were a lot of these that I were like, "Oh, these would be like, I can't really use this quite yet," or
I think that but there's a lot of, like, conversations with your kids or, like, language to use with your kids, words words to use to, like, encourage them to speak or, like, for them to share their story or for them to
Mhm.
talk through things. So I think yeah, I agree with that of, like, once you get, like, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus, probably are more helpful.
Yeah. I will say this about the husbands thing. Um, Greg is really good about this, and I think I would guess that a lot of other husbands are really good at this too. Um, so as an encouragement, if you're a mother listening to this and reading this, husbands often are good at, just like our kids, at doing something they've seen modeled.
Yes, that's good.
So, like, a lot of times, I don't even need Greg to read a book, because he trusts me and he trusts why I'm doing something, and if he has
Yes.
a question, he'll ask. Um, and he sees me interact with, like, this meltdown over and over and what I do, and then he just does it himself. Now I will say that can go the negative. I have noticed that if I've had, like, a bad week and I'm just, like, not handling things well, I start to see him doing the same things that I'm doing, and I'm like,
Oh,
"No, don't pick up on that one."
yeah, you're like, "You're supposed to be pulling me out of this, not coming and joining me here."
Yes, I'm like, "I know that I did that, but I don't want you to do that."
Mhm.
But
Oh,
one
I
thing that
totally
we
agree.
But one of the things that we have done, and it's really helpful, is if Greg, does something with our kids that I disagree with, which this took a lot of practice. I used to, like, take over, right? You know? And also, like, obviously keep in mind my profession. I'm like, "This is what I do, like, it has to be done right," right?
Yeah.
But I don't take over anymore. I let him do it even if he's gonna do it a way that I don't approve. And if he does something that I deem not the best, afterward, when everything's, like, calm and, like, we're doing dishes or something, I'll say, "Hey, remember when that happened?" And he'd be like, "Yeah." I'm like, do you know what you could have done better and you just had a bad moment, or would you like some advice? And
That's
a lot
good.
of times he'll say, "Yeah, I know what to do. I just didn't do it." And I'm like, "Okay, that's fair." Like I do that too, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I've had moments like that too where, like, I do something and if no one else brings it up, I'm not gonna bring it up again, you know? Like,
Right,
if
yeah.
so, I mean, it's valid to just talk about it afterwards or, like, if he really it could go either way, like, he could see something that I'm doing and be like, let's try that again."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like, literally, you're like a child. "Let's do it
Yeah, let's
again."
do that again. Redo.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, anyway, so those were a couple helpful things.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
good.
no, I liked the book for the most part. Thought it was helpful. Practical stuff was good. Yeah,
How many
I had
stars would
like
you
a
give
ton.
it out of 5?
Ooh. Ooh. See, this is like, are you like, do you ever so I never give 5 stars, just so
Mhm.
you guys
Ooh,
know. Just to like
okay.
give that. I am like a 5 stars are rare. I'd probably give it 3.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, if you could do halves, I'd do 3.5.
Same.
Mhm.
Well, no, I'd just do 3.
Just 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder I have to look back and see if I rated it when I read it first. I don't know if I
Oh, yeah,
did.
I didn't even put this on my Goodreads. Sometimes if I don't read it, like my Kindle automatically uploads to my Goodreads.
Oh, nice.
You don't yours doesn't do that?
I don't have a Kindle.
Oh, what are you doing?
I
It's like 50
know.
bucks.
No, I know. I told Josh that's what I want for my birthday, which my birthday is not anytime nearby. But I was looking at it and I was like, "Oh, this would be so nice to be able to borrow books from the library and take them with me on
Yeah.
my trip." That's what I like when I was traveling, that's what I wanted.
Yeah, it's really, really helpful. Greg got me one for Christmas or anniversary or something. Oh, it was I
Nice.
think it was our anniversary. But it really they are like if you I mean, they have the newest ones, but we just got one. It was like $50. And I was like,
Nice.
"Oh, I should have got that so long ago."
I know, I'm sure that's how I'll feel. Like, there is something about a physical book that I still really like.
Me too, but the problem is that I can't read it at like, it's not as accessible.
Yeah, I know.
So for me, I read a lot of times I'm reading when I put my kids down. So we lay with our kids and
Mm,
sometimes I'm in there a good half an hour, 45 minutes.
yeah, and you're
And
reading.
I will just read, but I
Mhm.
can't read a book because then I have to bring a book light and sometimes
Yeah,
that's too much for them.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's an interesting tactic for sleep.
Well, it's what made bedtime not miserable for me.
Yeah, that's good.
So I used to hate putting the kids down.
Mhm.
And then when I started reading, it became like, "Oh, I get to, like, just chill and read my book."
Yeah, that's nice.
And so then it just kind of, like, reframed the whole way that I look at bedtime.
Mhm. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
tried bringing a like, my headphones in and listening to, like, an audiobook
Mhm.
as I'm putting him down, but, then it's like the sound machine is loud, so I can't really hear it, and then I just feel it's just a whole it's not as enjoyable.
Yeah, you just gotta find your thing. I've also
Yeah,
I've done shows on my phone before. I can
yeah.
do it with one of my kids, I can't do it with the other one.
The
One of
other
my
one's like,
kids doesn't even
"What you
look.
watching?"
Yeah, one doesn't even notice, like, is turned the opposite direction, doesn't even really
Mhm.
see, and the other one's, like, right over my shoulder, like so exactly. So, anyway, but all the fun stuff. Well, you guys, I think that's about all we have for our first book club. We hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed it, and we're gonna have more. So keep on the lookout for our social media. It won't be this next month, but I think it's like the next like fifth Tuesday of the month. We'll do another book club, and we'll let you know in advance in case you want to read along with us. And of course, if anything we said today made you laugh, cry, or feel seen, please share this with a friend. And we'll see you guys again next week.